Hi, my name's Salvatore Maravito, and in my presentation, or my couple of slides, I did Maddie Cars and Trucks, aged 3.5 years old, and as I saw in the video, Maddie was looking through a photo album, and he had a discussion with his mum as well about past events and how the objects can be moved from one place to another, and his understanding of well, that's pretty much his understanding of how his environment can change. Using the early years learning framework, which is essentially a foundation of practices, principles and learning outcomes to help form an effective curriculum, we can sort of develop milestones for students. So not necessarily where they should be, but where they typically can be. And well, judging by what I saw in Maddie's scenario, he seems to have the ability to form sentences, and he has somewhat a decent understanding of how his environment changes and how, well, he knows how to use his past tense. So, for example, when he's looking at the photos of cars or discussing the cars with his mum, he knows that they once had a car and then that was replaced with another one, and now they have a new one, and their current one has currently been taken to work by his dad. In one of the outcomes in the early years learning framework, it says that a child at his age level should be very talkative and be very engaging in the conversation, and Maddie seems to be putting his own views into the conversation, and he's able to string together sentences which make sense. Maddie also has an understanding of self, so during the beginning of the video he says, look, that's my birthday. So essentially emergent literacy is when a child learns about reading and writing before they actually perform reading and writing skills. So that can be like Maddie's ability to understand the past, so using past tense. So strategies I'd use to improve skills of a child Maddie's age would be dramatic play, and that involves students, and that allows students to put themselves in another person's shoes. So just like Maddie could pretend to be his dad at work and working in an office, or he could be his mum working in an office or at home, or really anyone really. This sort of gives the child an understanding, or sort of like a view of how other people perceive the world, and it sort of gives him an deeper understanding of his environment. And so this will also strengthen conversational skills, and social skills, so like playing with other children, playing dress-ups. This also can enhance their vocabulary, so using new words which they haven't really used before. And this can be intertwined with emotional skills as well, or emotional development. So sort of like, if the child was to play doctor and patient with another child, one patient might be sick and the child playing doctor might show some empathy for the sick child, so showing sort of some emotion that they're not too happy with the other child being sick, for an example. So an approach which can be directed at dramatic play can be, so Reggio believed that learning should be creative and involving for students. So Reggio's key values were relationships, creativity, environment, time, learning and teaching, and finally reflective practice. So his approach encourages students to be more interactive and explore their environments, and this would incorporate individual experiences to form learning. So he also viewed students or children as competent and strong, and also confident. This shows children have their own ideas and able to express their own opinion and make independent choices when contributing to classroom activities and play. Educators are also required to learn alongside students, or children rather, and the educator is most purely to develop a starting point for a child's learning, and more so oversee the child's learning, giving them the child their own free will, so to say, to explore. And if and when needed, the educator can sort of guide the child to improve their skills and attributes. So the resources in that type of environment would require a lot of creativity and play. So the classroom would consist of open areas where the children can freely move and play and collaborate in groups or individually, really. And children can also be given an array of different types of media. So, for example, paper, paint, pencils, toys, costumes, books, and this will allow students to discover their own interests and express themselves freely. Though most importantly, the overview of an educator to guide their learning is most important, and that's basically it. So I've also added a picture of Reggio's classroom, or well, one setup. So it basically shows the layout of a typical classroom. So in the picture we can see a table with chairs all around, allowing students to collaborate. There's also lots of artwork and children in the background painting. So a lot of the stuff in the classroom, I can see that is very expressive, so allowing students to basically express their feelings through collaboration. And that's about it. Thank you for watching.